modding scene is a bizarre and strange one. You've got people creating some legitimately great content, things like Blade of Agony and Unloved for Doom, and older mods like They Hunger for Half-Life. Then on the flip side you get something like the Moonman mod, and for Half-Life you get case in point, Crack Life. Originally released in 2012, it's self-described as a retarded, unfunny, racist and offensive mod, the holy quadfecta for making a mod popular on the internet. Running alongside the original Half-Life, it's a downright batshit insane creation that replaces pretty much all of the sound effects for the entire game, as well as making a few other key changes to certain other aspects of the game. Now, if I could compare what Crack Life has done to Half-Life, it would be like someone going through every frame in a film like Citizen Kane or Casablanca and drawing dicks over everyone's faces and replacing dialogue with distorted screaming. Every sound effect has been switched, from doors opening and Gordon's footsteps through to weapons and explosions. The sound of a chopper exploding, for instance, now sounds like someone blowing a raspberry. Now look, Sunny Jims, I can't stress here enough that I'm in no way trying to be sanctimonious, but let's be honest, this mod is stupid as hell, and in a similar vein to something like Grezzo 2, it relies solely on just being as absurd as possible to create a name for itself. But to dumb it down to its most basic level, it's basically just 4chan in a Half-Life mod.
Are you fucking insane?
The changes in the mod are plentiful and noticeable from the get-go. Right off the bat, during the iconic tram ride prologue, you'll notice the narration inside the tram has been changed to something a lot more colourful.
Seriously, everybody is a fucking retard and a freak.
And when you try to quick save, you'll notice the text game saved is replaced with fuck you. Makes sense. But it's when you finally arrive at the anomalous materials chapter where things really kick off. The older, balding scientists sport giant moustaches and noses. The Kleiner scientists have afros and clown shoes, and Barney, well, I don't even know what the hell Barney is supposed to be. Anyway, things progress as they did in the original game. You enter the testing chamber, things go to shit, and the resonance cascade occurs, and at this point you can finally begin enjoying Crack Life for all it has to offer. You'll notice that Vortigaunts are now German soldiers, or Nazis I guess, armed with MP44s. Head crabs wear top hats, and head crab zombies appear to be chavs or Slavs armed with baseball bats. In terms of the weapons, they're all here, though now the pistol is a cock and balls, a surprisingly powerful cock and balls too, I might add. Gordon's iconic crowbar is now replaced with his fists, and the shotgun and railgun model has been ripped straight from Quake 3, replacing the shotgun and Gauss gun respectively. The MP5 is the same as the original game, but now has a much faster firing rate, and the grenade launcher is infinite and rapid firing as well, and that is as broken as it sounds. Grenades are replaced by Pepsi cans stuffed with a pack of Mentos because I guess that makes sense. Snarks function the same, though for some reason they're wearing what I think are boater hats because why not, and the RPG now launches nukes. Now these aren't the worst changes, to be honest. In fact, the MP5 is actually quite a lot of fun to use, especially with the rapid firing grenade launcher alt fire. The railgun's also kinda dope to use and does a hell of a lot of damage, so all up, the weapon changes aren't really all that bad, and buggering around with them is pretty fun. But look, I'm not gonna sit here like a complete asshole listing every single thing the mod changes. I'll instead talk about where I think it doesn't work. I guess my major complaint with the mod, aside from it just being stupid as hell, is how they've made the heads-up display all but completely illegible. It's pretty much impossible to see how much health, HEV, energy, and ammo you've got because the font or the characters they've used makes it unreadable. I can put up with all the other dumb stuff in the game, all the loud, ear-piercing sound effects that make my ears bleed, and the juvenile, idiotic sense of humor the mod has that feels like it's from a Gary's Mod compilation.
Something died down here.
But when they screw around with the user interface to the point that you can't see crucial information like health and ammo, well, I kinda take issue. My other problem is with the Vortigaunts or the German soldiers or Nazis or whatever the hell they are, which are simply broken. They have the same attack as before, with a sort of charged up lightning attack that relies on line of sight. However, with the Vortigaunts this was a cinch because there was a charge up time before they could fire it. And if you weren't a complete moron, you could easily hide around the nearest corner and avoid taking damage. But in Crack Life, there's barely any cooldown, and they can just fire constantly. Now, I get that you're really not supposed to be playing the mod as you would vanilla Half-Life, but this is the kind of thing that makes or breaks a mod, being that it simply doesn't function with the base game fully. I mean, as stupid as a mod like Moonman is, or dare I say it, hates Doom, the simple truth is that you can load those mods up and play through Doom 1 and 2 in its entirety without any hiccups. The numerous changes they've made to both those mods don't make the base game unplayable or unbalanced, and that's what I think is the definition of a good mod. And the same can't be said about Crack Life. It seemed they did kinda learn from their mistakes when they released the Crack Life campaign mode in 2014, as they fixed a few of these issues. Campaign being a bit of a misnomer here though, as there's not really any story as far as I could tell, it's just a series of random environments and encounters. The weapons here are either brought across from the Crack Life mod or changed entirely. The shotgun, for instance, from Half-Life is back, though now it's aligned to the center of the screen to resemble the shotgun from Doom. And there's dual-wielding sawn-off shotguns as well, which I think is influenced by Blood 2. Crossbow now shoots in rapid fire, and the RPG can be dual wielded as well, which is kinda awesome. Other improvements include the fact that they've made it so you can actually read the goddamn heads up display. And more importantly, the Vortigons are back, albeit with afros and dancing to disco music. The campaign mode references other video games like Deus Ex, Metal Gear Solid, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, and even Dark Souls. Aside from that, you can expect a similar level of toilet humor and the almost constant references to dated internet memes. Go watch a cringe compilation on YouTube from back in 2014, you'll see a lot of the stuff they've used in this mod. At one point there's even a boss fight against Skrillex. Yeah, Skrillex, remember that guy? As you'd expect, nothing in this campaign ever really makes any kind of sense. It's just this kaleidoscope of weird and wacky shit. Again, it's the kind of stuff that 13-year-olds playing Gary's mod are gonna find hilarious, but everyone else will probably think it's a bit stupid.
I keep getting asked the same question over and over. Do you even live?
Like I said earlier, I'm not trying to act all high and mighty, and I won't lie, there's a few things that got a genuine laugh out of me, but most of it isn't very clever, and it's really the lowest of the low brow. Now look, in the mod's defense, it did, as I said before, describe itself as retarded, unfunny, racist, and offensive. But that's the equivalent of someone saying no offense before they say something incredibly stupid. I guess it's really just down to the person playing the mod as to whether or not that statement's going to be accurate, but at least one of those is always going to ring true. Is it worth playing though? Well, shit, I'm not sure if I'd outright condemn it. I mean, it is free and all that, and all you're going to really lose from playing it is your time. And I'd say you'd probably know within 15 minutes if you're going to want to spend any more time in Crack Life, which really isn't all that much time wasted. But it has very little depth or lasting power, and its reputation is solely based on the subjectively offensive content it has on offer. It's like the goon bag of Half-Life mods, the Passion Pop, the Johnny Walker Red Label, or the Bud Light for you folks in America. Crack Life is free though and easy to download and get running, so if you're able to switch off your brain and don't mind switching on God mode every now and then when the mod turns into horse shit, I'd say it's worth checking out. But let's not lie, Sonny Jim, there's far superior mods out there.